Hello and welcome to the Sussex by the Sea podcast summer special. Normally I'd have my feet up, waiting for those pre-season fixtures to come out. But with a favourite of many a Sussex club taking on a massive rebuild at my club, Hastings United, Lee Carey was kind enough to give me half an hour of his time in between phone calls and deal signings on what is going to be a massive job and rebuild at the Pilot Field. Have a listen. Right, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the summer special Sussex by the Sea podcast. We have the new Hastings manager here, relatively freshly announced, Lee Carey, former legend of Sussex football in general. Some great memories with Hastings in particular, as well as other clubs. But we've got some happy memories of you, Lee, being at our club. Thanks for coming on. Hello.
My pleasure, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Lee, so first of all, where should we start?
If you want to go right back to the start, Chris, and we can kind of look at 20 years ago and bring it right where we are today.
Yeah.
And cut out the bits in the middle, I suppose. As you said, had a long affiliation with Hastings ever since I come out of full-time football, and come to Hastings as I think it was a 19-year-old, I think at the time. Back then, I can't even remember what year it was now. Chris, you'll probably not, remember more than I will, but. Yeah, in that kind of first season out of kind of full-time football, being involved with Hastings, in that period, having a great season, getting promotion through the playoffs, having great memories, and like you said,
do you keep up with that side? You know 2006-07, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah,
it was,
it's funny you say that actually, because I've actually got a text message all in a WhatsApp group.
Nice.
We've stayed in contact, and people have gone on to do different things within football and had some great careers, and which has been really great to see. And we've actually got a golf day, that group,
nice.
coming up in the middle of June. So yeah, we always stay in contact. And I know Spicer's just had a kind of a retirement game a couple of weeks ago locally, which had great attendance from that kind of era. So yeah, we all stay in contact, and we'll still on good terms.
Oh, good. So so just mentioning that promotion side. I mean, is it any? What's your kind of fondest memory? Obviously, going up through the playoffs, that's the moment we went up. But is there any particular moments that you just thought, you know what, we got a good chance this season?
If I remember rightly, Chris, I think it was about November time. I think we were probably in the relegation zone. I can't remember. We weren't sort of where we ended up, but I think if I remember rightly, we went on like a real crazy run of about 20 games where I think we won 18 or something like that, and we didn't lose in 20 games, which eventually saw us get into the playoffs, and then go down to Dover, which at the time was kind of tipped to go up anyway, but out of the playoffs, and we ended up beating them in the playoffs. And then the fondest memory, obviously, beating Dover away from home, and then going to Tooting in the final, scoring a penalty in the final to get us promoted that day was something special, and I held dearly to even still. So great day, good party after, if I remember rightly, and a really good memory for me personally as well.
Okay, well, yeah, we move on. You obviously captain around the time, at the time of the cup run. Famous cup run, getting to Middlesbrough, FA Cup third round, amazing achievement for a club of our size. Same about the league season, but
I was going to say, Chris, it's one for me that's not haunted me all this time, but it's kind of when I look back on and think for how much great memories I've got of that season, there's definitely a bit of it that's quite tarnished. Getting to where we did in the FA Cup for a team of our step, to do it. I don't even remember the last time anyone from the kind of Isthmian Premier got to the third round of the FA Cup, whether it's even been done before or since, I don't know. Three or 4 months later to get relegated was something that didn't sit well with me at the time. And it still doesn't to this day. And it's only probably since I finished playing and kind of stepped away from Hastings that's kind of probably, I look back at that and wish I'd have done maybe some things differently. But yeah, I had some great times in that cup run, lots of exposure for the club, which was amazing. The finances behind it also great. But yeah, it's kind of tarnished, at being relegated at that season really didn't sit well, which was a shame.
You've obviously been involved with other clubs as well. In Sussex. Funnily enough, yesterday I work on the trains, and one of the drivers, because I was about interview yourself, and he's a Tonbridge Angels fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he was telling me about you, and it actually that known very fondly at Tonbridge. So it's very well travelled in Sussex.
Yeah, I mean, if I look back, I won't probably name them all because we'll be here for the next 2 hours, Chris. I suppose if you look at my playing days, but yeah,
Mm.
I've got fond memories of Tunbridge. I had two spells at Tunbridge. Once I went on loan there when I was at Brighton, and had a really good loan spell down there when Tony Dolby, which obviously then become Hastings manager, was manager down there at the time. And then I went back there after leaving Hastings under Steve McKim, and had a couple of years there, which was great. And yeah, that's as a special place as well for me from the group that we had there as well. But yeah, definitely had some good times around Sussex football, whether it be for Lewis, Horsham, Bognor in the early days as well. So yeah, so been around probably more clubs in Sussex and tracksuits and all these kind of jokes that kind of get said. But yeah, I've got great fond memories around playing locally, and also obviously a bit further afield when I went to Met Police and stuff up in London, which was yeah, another adventure which yeah, I really enjoyed. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, so that obviously we sort of end your playing days now. In terms of coaching, what sort of coaching experience? Because one of the things that when you were appointed, was asked that like in terms of your coaching experience,
yeah,
what?
so the last time I come back to Hastings under Adam Hinchelwood as
Mm,
first team coach. So yeah, I've got my coaching qualifications. So I come back with Hinch originally. It was going to be more in a coaching role, Chris. But I don't know if you remember when we come back that time. It was kind of like like a rebuild as well at that point,
yeah.
and ended up playing probably more than what I probably thought I was going to. And that was probably coming towards the end of my playing career, or should have been. But yeah, enjoyed the coaching element under Hinch, and then when Hinch left back and went to Worthing, stayed with Aggie for a period of time that was very brief, and then kind of come away from kind of that level of football and stayed, doing bits and pieces around coaching, whether it be in the development side of things, in the children, whether it be through different companies. But yeah, kind of stepped away from it for
Mm.
family reasons to kind of bring up a young family over the last 3 or 4 years and step away from it. And it wasn't until Dean and Ben have always asked me to get involved with Hastings, kind of within the academy and the under 18s, and it's just not been right timing wise and family and work as well, which is a commitment. So yeah, it was a discussion, 4 weeks before the end of the season when I saw Dean and he said like there could be an opportunity. I didn't need any convincing. I said yes,
Mm.
let's give it a go for those 4 or 5 weeks. It's one of those things that I committed to give everything to it, Chris, over that
Yeah.
period of time. And I did, and I really enjoyed it. And there was discussions had, during that period to say, well, what do you want to do more long term? And it kind of progressed from there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, as I say, I was going to ask you about I mean, I've got my opinions of the dressing room and made sure that I've said these before on the podcast and we don't really need to go over them, but it seemed like it was in a diabolical state.
Yeah.
Far too much boo-boo face from the players and just the wrong attitudes. It came across to myself, but when you walk in there, obviously you've got to get in there and bring the boy the lads up, but equally you had that thing where you were going to promote youth. So tell me about that process about walking in and deciding like who am I going to utilize and who maybe I'm not going to.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, Chris, it was a situation that I walked into with Dean, and I kind of had a look at it from fresh eyes. So I'd seen what had happened probably for the first since the turn of the year. So I've watched games and I'd seen videos and stuff. But at that point, I think that day I went in, 5 or 6 of the squad had actually left.
Hmm.
Um, so it was from our point of view, Dean and myself. There was a group of core lads that were contracted lads that were going to be there. And then it was right. Well, we've got a group of 6 or 7 under 18 lads that were going to play for the 5 games. So some will get an
Yeah.
opportunity, some will be in and around the squad. So I can't comment too much personally on what went on before.
Hmm.
But as you probably watched enough games that season to realise things weren't right.
Yeah.
And you'd be probably bang on to say that, and the league doesn't lie. So
No, it doesn't.
things weren't right for that reason. So I mean, I was coming into the group, but looking at it with fresh eyes to say, right, we've got a core group of lads there that are contracted. We've now got a group of under 18s, kind of amalgamating those two groups together, and seeing what we could get out of the final 5 games. And that's what we did. And from mine and Dean's point of view, what we said from that Tuesday when we went in is, look, we'll give you 100% of what we can offer. All we can ask is you boys give the same. And to be fair, for those 5 games, every single one of them, probably, and you would probably notice it as well, Chris, you probably noticed the difference in that Hastings team that finished those 5 games, bringing those younger lads in, having people that really care about the football club. A lot different than the previous 37 games that it had. So I looked at it from fresh eyes, with a view of, Chris, we probably knew that it was too late, in all honesty. So being 12 points behind, going into the last 5 games, it was always going to be very difficult. So having one eye potentially on next year was always kind of that opinion that could 1 or 2 of the under 18 step up and maybe progress into the step 14, that maybe what would be this year. And I definitely think a number of them did that. So they can be proud.
Yeah, the younger lads definitely. And hopefully some of them have got a future for the coming season. I mean, it's I'm going to cut this. It's no point talking about last year's team, really. It's this difficult one.
I mean, if you want to, if we look at it, Chris, I think the issues probably started a little bit prior to that. If I look back and probably 2 or 3 years ago, I think culturally as Hastings United Football Club, I think we kind of, from what I understand and what I know within the football club of how it should be, I think it kind of changed at that period.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, there was management brought in, the team was training up in London. Now at that point, you're culturally going to have a change to what Hastings United, what I believe should be. Yeah. So if you look at the squads over that period of time, culturally it changed quite a lot from the successful periods that Hastings have had over the last 20 years, where it's been about a core local sort of Hastings Sussex based lads that know what it means to represent Hastings. And my main objective, Chris, coming in, knowing the club as well as I do, having represented it and being a captain, is to try and get it back very quickly to somewhere culturally where Hastings United should be. And that's going to be my main objective. Is I want the supporters to look at Hastings United team and say, we can relate to that. That is what Hastings United should be. And that's what we want to represent. And that's what I want us to be proud of. So that has already happened. When I went back in with 5 games to go, I already had that in my mind. If this was going to be a long-term thing, we need to get the culture back to where Hastings United should be. And we need to make it relatable to the 1,000 people who are coming through the gate week in, week out. And that is what I see, Chris. That I think that's happened over a period of time, over maybe 2 or 3 years. And I know Aggie come back and patched over certain things, and obviously left the Worthing. And then, as we know, last year it didn't work out for a couple of reasons. But for me personally, the first objective that I'm going to be taking on board is culturally, we need to get Hastings back to what our key values and beliefs are. And that's going to be something that's going to be really important to me moving forward.
And I mean, I know it's great to hear, and Hastings fans are absolutely happy to hear that. But I mean, how easy is that to do? Other than what's happened is there's a new broom. Most, if not all, of those people have gone. Yeah, I mean,
like you say, from my point of view, it's kind of like and it's common knowledge now. You've seen the departures that are going to leave the football club. We made deals to keep those lads because I think they could have added to the core group of what Hastings United should be. The local lads probably haven't got as much opportunities over the last 2 or 3 years as what they maybe feel like they should, and they believe that they feel like they can play at a higher level. So I'm looking at it from fresh eyes. What you will see come into the football club will have that same ethos that I believe in 100%, that they may have had to go and pick up an opportunity at step 4, step 3 elsewhere. So you'll definitely see a culture change very quickly with who we're going to be adding to the group. So in my belief is it will happen very quickly. And knowing what I know about Hastings United, Chris, I will be instilling that in every conversation I'm having with players, whether they're from that I know locally or whether they're from a little bit further afield. They need to be the right person. So the right personality. Are they going to buy into what Hastings United is about? And that's the most important thing for me. So additions that will be announced in the coming weeks. You'll kind of see a clear message that they want to be at Hastings United, and that is where we want to be. And then everything after that we can really build upon as we go through the next couple of weeks. So that's all I can say.
Busy time for you, Lee.
Yeah, very busy. I've been on holiday when it was announced, so the board very kindly rang me when I was halfway around the world. Timing's one of those things. So you're very busy on holiday. I must have spoke to about 30 or 40 players, while I was, halfway around the world trying to get things sorted out, and it would all come together all in good time, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, excellent. Well, we do have a lot of fan questions, Lee. So
Yeah,
I'll try and get through them as quickly. I want to try and get as many as we can. There's
yeah,
probably
no
going to be a
problem.
few that are going to be repeats of themselves, so I'll try not to repeat them. But as I say, it's open questions, so I'm not gonna. If someone's a negative question, I'm just going to read it out. We'll go with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
just yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah. I'm
No
sure. I
problem.
don't think there is many, but or if any. But okay, we've got Callum Ray, someone you may know. Callum Ray. What's saying? What's his name? Okay, what are you expecting from the upcoming season? Now you know George, David, and Adam have all left. Do you plan on bringing new player? Will you be bringing in new players, or are you going to be playing the youngsters like Jamal Labanga, giving them a chance to show what they can offer? And he sneaked another question in here. And what style of football can we expect to see from him and the lads next season?
Yeah, I think you'll notice in the coming week or so, Chris, and the fans will notice there will be a group of lads that will stay at the football club, that have maybe not had as much game time and opportunity as they have done in previous years. So that will happen, and there definitely will be additions, obviously because the amount of players that have left over the course of, whether it be before the 5 games and in the season and the ones that have now departed. So there will be, a kind of a core group that will stay and a core group that will come in, of people that I'm sure the fans will love. In regards to a style of play, a style of play, we'll be very energetic. We'll be aggressive. We'll be on the front foot. We'll play football when it needs to be played. If we go away on a winter's day and it needs to be maybe a different style of play, we'll be adaptable. Teams will be well organised. So I'm very confident that going into step forward, a group that we can assemble. That from my point of view, Chris, the top 5 will be the aim. So definitely within the playoffs, within a chance of promotion, by the last game of the season is definitely the objective for the 2025-2026 season.
That's good to hear, mate. That's good to hear. Right, we've got Tom Dyson who does the radio. You've already answered his first question, really. So, second question. Let me give you some young players. Okay, a bit of a cryptic one, this one from old
Okay.
Tom. Given that we have some young players who were introduced to the first team towards the end of last season, as a former player, now first team manager, what is it like for a young player to step in to a new environment, and how do you aim to develop and progress the young players coming through?
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, Chris, I think yes, having that academy, kind of production line is very important for any football club. Some will be ready at different times. Like for instance, you've seen Joe Clifford, for example, as a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, step into the first team for those last 5 games. And one of the things that was very apparent very early on, we didn't worry about Joe. There wasn't any discussion about Joe. Are we worried? He always went out and played there like a really experienced player, and probably the most consistent player over those 5 games. So yes, there are some really good youngsters in the group and at the football club. They'll be involved. They'll be around the group. They'll be around the group that we assemble with experienced heads as well. So there will be a number of experienced players coming into the football club that the likes of Joe, and them younger lads can really learn from.
Will they be
So
experienced players at step 4 level, or
there'll be experienced players at step 4 level for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And there'll be 1 or 2 maybe from a higher level, that we're speaking to at the moment. So yeah, there'll be experience, definitely at step 4 and above. We're really excited for the football club moving forward over this year. And I can't remember the last bit of that, Chris. Was
Oh,
there a
how do you
different part?
aim to develop and progress the young players?
Yeah, I mean, so from a development point of view, from a coaching point of view, we'll be very, very stringent in what we're doing. Monday to Friday, putting the team in the best possible position, not just the young lads, but also the more experienced lads. From my point of view, you're never too old to start learning different things and new ways of doing it. So it's not just about the younger lads. We're going to try and improve every single player within our squad to get better, and ultimately give us the best opportunity to progress into that top 5 is where we want to be at the end of the season.
Nice, nice. Oh, okay, Sam Collins asked, what is your footballing philosophy?
So from a footballing philosophy, I want to try and play as much football as much as possible from back to front, play through the thirds when we've got the ball. As a defensive unit, from my point of view, defend your 18-yard box like your life depends on it. We don't want any crosses coming into the box. And from my point of view, Chris, football is pretty much at step 4 what happens in both boxes. So I think if we can really be organised defensively, defend our box really well, and offensively, if we can capitalise on mistakes, because at this level a lot of goals are scored probably by mistakes that are made, and be really aggressive on the front foot and win the ball high up the pitch. That is what we were going to be doing this year. But that comes into it from a pressing team that's going to be really aggressive and on the front foot. And then everything between the 18-yard boxes will be pretty at times. And then when we go away to somewhere on a January night that's maybe not so pretty, then we'll have a different
Tuesday,
November,
a Tuesday night in November in Jersey.
Well, yeah, exactly. We might have to play a different style of play on a Wednesday, on a Tuesday windy night that we maybe play on maybe a 4G somewhere on a Saturday. So we're going to be adaptable, and the conditions will be one, style of play will be the other. So we're going to assemble a group that's going to be really adaptable and well drilled.
Excellent stuff. Bob Geldof. I don't think it's the Sir Bob Geldof.
Bob Geldof.
He's asking, he possibly could be. Yeah, it's his Facebook. It could be an Indian fella in. But I'm just asking about players coming in. You've asked that. Okay. We can't say. Will they make a big impact? Yeah, of course they will.
Yeah, I'm what I'm hoping for, Chris, is that every player will make an impact within the group. Not just the players, but myself, the staff, the board. We're all going to pull together in the right direction. For the right culture and the right kind of environment to really push the club forward.
Okay, right. And Lisa Kemp asked a similar question. You've answered the question really about players coming in. Ian Grant asks, have you got a particular game plan that can work on the playing surface at the pilot field?
Yeah, I mean, from our point of view, Chris, there will be some works going on through the summer to try and get the pitch in the best possible condition that we can try and keep in. Now, there's a lot of football played on the pilot field, as you know, and probably towards the end of the season, probably didn't allow us to play some of the football that maybe me and Dean would have liked at times. But it's not just our pitch. I mean, any pitch at step forward that's grass, it has its challenges, especially through the winter that we had as well with the amount of rain and stuff like that. So we'll be adaptable with the surface that we're playing on for sure. But rest assured that my philosophy and the way that I played the game is how I would want it to be played, moving forward for Hastings United, which is on the floor, try and play through the thirds, get our kind of really expressive players on the ball as much as possible, and really go and excite the Hastings United crowd, which I know when it's going well is a real asset to the football team.
Well, when it wasn't going well, I remember us singing for that load of old nonsense last season. We didn't get on their backs. That is one of the things that we should mention, actually, from a fan's point of view, is we hear a lot of the fans having a go at each other about, well, we should have got on their backs and all that. It might have changed things. I don't think it would have done. But I mean, I think
I don't think it would have done. I mean, from my point of view, Chris, looking at the support, I mean, last game of the season or second last game or hashtag, I think it was, pretty much relegated, and you're getting over 1,100 people there is phenomenal. And that is something that we're going to need definitely next season. And it's definitely something that I've used from a recruitment point of view. From a recruitment point of view, from a player, putting myself in their shoes, knowing that you're going to be playing in front of potentially 1,000 people every other week is a real selling point. So all I would ask is that, in the same vein, I'll put a team together and a squad together that go out and give everything for Hastings United. That is a given. And I'm sure the supporters will be right behind that. So yeah, like you say, even in the bad times, I know there is some really great support, and it's much appreciated.
Well, okay. Simon Stoddard, who helps do the program, he says, first of all, good luck to you. Simon does. He's saying that our three best players have gone. Can you replace like for like? Can you replace them? Do you feel that?
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, Chris, looking at the squads towards the last, I mean, we knew it was going to be very difficult being relegated, and I've been part of it as a player on a couple of occasions, whether it be at Hastings United or been been a part of a rebuild project at Tunbridge Angels, for instance. And when you get relegated, it's very, very hard to keep a squad together. Very much easier when you're getting promotions like Burgess Hill, Horsham, for example. When you're seeing the retained player list come through, I'm sure on socials, very easy to do that. But when you're relegated, it's quite difficult when you're speaking to these lads who believe that they can go on and progress at step 3, step 2, for example, like David and George have just done. So yeah, we knew it was going to be really difficult to keep hold of the core group like Adam, David, George that have gone obviously, and then announced today Cian and Freddie. So we knew it was going to be difficult because them lads believe that they can go on and play at step 3. And from a financial point of view also, Chris, was going to be hard. Knowing by what some of the offers out there to go, like George example, to go to Kidderminster full time, absolutely good luck to him. You know, you can't hold people back. So yeah, we knew it was going to be difficult. In regards to replacing them, we believe that we're doing the very best we can with replacing them. And like I say, the proof's in the pudding. It'd be interesting next year when we put a similar squad together to go and see whether they've been replaced or not to the same ability. I believe they are, and I'm confident in that. Definitely a step forward with the players that we're bringing in, that we can go and really challenge next year and not replace those lads because they've all left on good terms. So from my point of view, there was discussions. From my point of view, there was discussions. We offered them to stay. They didn't want to. And from all I can say, Chris, moving forward, I want people at the club that want to be there. So every addition that will be brought in wants to be at Hastings United Football Club, and I know we'll give everything week in, week out to do that. So yeah, we'll replace them as best we can, I'm sure.
Okay, I got Peter Roper. He's looking forward to next season, talking about cracking away games as well. It's going to be an enjoyable season, he says, but he's a little bit worried. He says, can Lee assure us that the club is safe with solid plans laid out and that we have a team that will compete and play a bit of football? Or he goes, or do I have to dig my old footy boots out? Okay, so he's having a bit of a joke there, but I suppose he's worried that the club's safe. I mean, the problem is particularly on socials, everyone panics, as you just been referring about, like Horsham releasing their team lists, and
I'm sure. All I can say from our
speculation is rife.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We believe we're going about our business in the right manner. Behind the scenes, we've got multiple additions to the squad, so no one needs to panic. So in that regard, we're going about our business in a way that we feel comfortable with. And rest assured, I don't think we're going to be. I don't think I'll be dusting my boots off anytime soon, Chris. So I don't think anyone else needs to. So we behind the scenes, we're doing what we need to do. And then I think the club's in a good place with good plans, not just for this year, but also and beyond, with what we're trying to do with the ground and stuff like that will happen in the future. So I think everything is going to be good.
Okay, excellent. Colin Morris asks, do you feel that the board has presented you with a budget sufficient for us to be realistic at achieving playoffs? I mean, you said you think we can achieve playoffs, so you would say that budget is realistic.
I think taking the budget out of it for a second, I think a club of Hastings United stature at step 4, the kind of minimum expectation and what I'm doing from a recruitment point of view is, we should be at least aiming to be in the playoffs by the end of the season, right? In regards to the budget, the board have presented the budget. We'll work accordingly to that, and making sure the club's safe is the first priority, and we'll bring players in of good quality for the right financial package that's going to see us really challenge next year. That's what I can promise. Are we going to be paying out some of the money that's being presented to players in this level that's ridiculous? No.
I would hope not.
We've done that in previous year, Chris, and it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Right. So my belief is taking the finances out of it, we're bringing good people into the football club that want to be here, as I've stated on multiple occasions. So I believe we can challenge and be in that top 5 with the additions that we're making for sure.
Excellent. Okay, right. Jonathan Buckmaster says, questions: have the board set any expectations for this season, regardless of whether they have or haven't? What are Lee's top 3 priorities for the season?
I mean, from an expectation from the board, Chris, it's very aligned with what I've mentioned. So we need to be in, by the last game of the season, we want to be in contention of being in that playoffs place to then obviously get promotion. So if we have a great year and we go and win it by 10 points, amazing. If we scrape in last game of the season into the playoffs, don't care.
Great.
So that's the expectations as a football club. That's aligns with mine. So that's all good from there. And then what was the second part?
What is your top 3 priorities for the season?
First priority, I think I mentioned at the top of what we were talking about, Chris, is from a culture point of view, we need to get that back within Hastings United. So that is my main priority. Second priority is putting a squad together that can go and compete week in, week out in the right manner. And Hastings, myself and the supporters and the board are proud of. And then the third objective, which will be the icing on the cake, is winning promotion at the end of the year, whether it's via playoffs or winning the league. So they're the kind of 3 key things, probably in that order. Culturally needs to be right. Acquiring a squad together that are all good people, go and compete, go and get promoted.
Yeah, I'm liking all that. Lee, hang on. I've got Jonathan's son, Finn. Little Finn, he's only 8. What is he saying here? What I see, he's trying to be cheeky here. What sort of player is he looking to bring in for the season, and does he have his eye on any particular players out there? Well, you're not really going to tell us that, are you?
I won't give specifics, Chris, and you'll see in the coming week or so that of how that looks. But in regards to, from a player point of view, all I can say is, Chris, all different, obviously position-wise, knowing that the rebuild needs to happen. But more importantly than that is what sort of person are they? Are they going to buy into what Hastings United is about? Some of them know the club already. Some of them maybe not, and it's just getting the right people, keep people through the door that really want to care about Hastings United and move the club forward.
Okay, I've got Chris Van Rock, who says brilliant footballer. So he's just a massive fan of you. So there you go. You don't mind that, do you?
It wasn't sarcasm, Chris, was it?
No, it wasn't. No. Well, I've got Tim saying looks like Hastings have played their joker. See, so that isn't nice. So yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Well,
These things happen, right?
Tim's a grumpy bugger. He comes every week though. You kind of answered this already with Joe Knight was saying about what you think of Hastings and what it represents in a player that wears that shirt.
It's a good question. It's a really good question. It's probably not something that I appreciated till finishing playing, and looking back at the teams that I'd represented over that time. So, I mean, when I look back, Hastings United has always held a kind of special place, for me personally. And there's certain things that I believe Hastings United represents. Number one, 100% effort and hard work. As culturally, I think that's what Hastings represents as a town. And that is the most important thing for me moving forward, is that every person that puts on that shirt, myself included, will give 100% of what they can offer week in, week out. That's a given. In regards to what Hastings represents for me personally, I had some really great times through my playing career at Hastings, and probably one of the reasons why I've got the job, Chris, in all honesty, is because I believe I know what Hastings United is about to the core, and having some good times. And there's definitely some times that I reflect on looking back that maybe I would have done things differently. Whether it be leaving at certain times or maybe, the way I've done things when I left. So there's definitely regrets I have about those sort of things as well when I reflect on things. But definitely for me personally, it's always been a club that if given the opportunity, I would have always come back and given everything for this club. And I plan to do that now. So, whether it be coming under Adam Hinchwood as first team coach and giving everything at that point and then playing, and now to be heading up what I see as a really exciting period for the club moving forward, is something that really, really matters to me. So I can guarantee the board, the supporters, the players, that I will give everything, moving forward for this football club. And that's what I can promise.
Oh, excellent. Well, just talking about you have you got a backroom staff yet? I mean, have you
so
kind of lined it all up?
Things, so
they
all
were
those
about to be
things
announced.
all those things will be announced, Chris. So
Nice
in
one.
the coming week or so, we believe and we feel that we've got the right teams in place to really go and give the players the right opportunities and the right environment to go and really excel. And this is a football club that stepped forward, that really treats the players really well. So that's been a selling point, and we believe with the coaching staff that we're going to have in place, we can really offer the lads the best opportunity to go out there week in, week out and perform at their best.
Our poor old Smithy's going to be busy. Them on the Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Okay, Lee, thank you so much for your time, mate. Looking forward to the new season. Let's see where we go. It'll
be around the corner before we know it, Chris. So it's pre-season is starting in a couple of weeks, and we'll hit the ground running.
Excellent.
Literally.
Yes. That's it for this episode, SBTS fans. If you want to get in contact with this podcast, Twitter, SBTS Pod. Otherwise, go to the YouTube. Over 5 years of interviews, episodes, and fan roundtables. There's so many other ways to listen. However you get your podcast, we're on all platforms. Or go to the link tree, which is SBTS Podcast, and subscribe. It's all free. Remember, get yourselves to a game and support local football, whoever and wherever you're watching. And apart from that, see you at the game.